Welcome to A Girl, a Guy, and a Buffy podcast, Small Bites edition. I'm your co-host, Kate Balzer.
And I'm Charles Swint. So our small bites episodes are discussions we had in the main episode that didn't quite fit the overall conversation, but we still wanted to share with you all.
We hope you enjoy these tasty conversational bites. We promise, no angry puppy scars from listening.
Okay, so we've been talking about relationships all season long, like all these romantic relationships and their impact and all this other stuff. So what we saw some really good couples. What couples didn't we see? Like which two characters in the Buffyverse? And I'm gonna open it up to like make it like an all-encompassing thing. Like which two characters in the Buffyverse or which couples would you have liked to see that we never got to see? What were those missed connections? Remember missed connections?
Oh, yeah, totally. I feel like, didn't they used to do a thing on that on the Burt Show?
Missed connection. Yeah, they did. And then like also in like Craigslist, it was like, I saw you at like Gold's Gym and you were wearing
Yeah.
or I saw you in the subway.
I knew that was like the origin, but they used to do a bit on the Burt Show, which for anyone not in their market, it's a morning radio show here in Atlanta.
Yeah, they're
we'll give
syndicated
the Burt, Burt Show a shout out. Okay, great question. I would say my first choice that I think would have been really interesting to explore is Giles and Joyce.
Yes. Oh God,
and
yes.
I know they obviously like had a chemistry and had some sexual chemistry.
Right.
And I do think it was so beautiful the way he listened to the music after she died that they had listened to during Band Candy.
Yeah.
That was like a really subtle, sweet tribute. I thought that was such a great moment. So, there was obviously like connection and emotions there. I get why, they didn't go there in the show. But I do think it would have been, I think minus real world details, like Anthony Stewart had wanted to go back to live in England with his family. I think if he had become much more of a stepfather figure officially, like if they had hooked up and gotten married or just, lived as long-term partners together, that would have changed season 6.
Oh gosh, yeah, absolutely.
You couldn't have him abandon her. So, that would have even like impacted Buffy as well, like down the road, not just, an interesting romantic relationship to explore.
Right. Yeah. And like you said, even those like real world complications, because Christine Sutherland was like, I'm ready to like be out. I want to kind of go travel and do some stuff. So doing all of that. But I think like what a fun couple. I mean, there could have been so many fun storylines between them.
And it would have sorry, I was just gonna say it also would have like included Joyce more in the storylines.
Yeah. Could have been an interesting little spin-off. Joyce and Giles. I'm thinking, let me see here, who would I have liked to have seen? Here's the thing, I honestly, and even though it wasn't this, I wish it could have been, but it never really. But Andrew and Jonathan.
Oh,
would have been so cute together. I mean, the friendship was cute. And all of that. But like, what an adorable little like couple. I mean, like, Andrew with anyone. Andrew with anyone, I think would be adorable. Although I don't know if he had the emotional maturity to be in a relationship. Really.
Yeah.
And one could say his relationship with Jonathan was, wasn't romantic by any means, but
right.
I mean, he was definitely like clearly in love with Warren. Like,
yes,
that was, his picker was off, but I think Jonathan would have been the better.
Oh yeah, for sure.
The better choice for him.
Well, they both would have been better without Warren. Yeah, and I think with Warren too was a little bit of hero worship, not understanding like what he might be feeling emotionally sexually and romantically.
Hmm.
And so kind of maybe putting the wrong feelings on Warren, just because he was so, you know,
Right.
so
He was.
emotionally immature and, hadn't fully realized his sexuality yet. I do think, speaking of Andrew, even though I don't know that I would think of them as romantically, but I thought Dawn and Andrew had some really cute interactions in season 7.
Yeah.
So like I could see them like dating and then him realizing like, oh, we're just good as like besties
Yeah.
and being that kind of like straight girl, gay guy, best friends.
And that could have been a good storyline to be like,
Yeah,
oh, look, and like, oh, you're the girl that I dated, and then I realized that I was gay and was like,
right.
oh gosh, tale as old as time.
Yes. They could
Uh,
have been the Will and Grace
right
of
of
Buffyverse.
the Buffyverse.
That
They
would have been
could
like
have.
super cute.
That could have been a cute time too. Yeah, yeah.
Right?
Especially with the niche, the when she kicks him, or like the way she picks on him all the time, and threatens bodily violence towards him. That feels right. I don't know
I
how
know.
that would work. Like he's such a goofy person, and so I wonder what that would have done to his character too, to like
Yeah.
really kind of give him that because everyone's like once they got into relationships, they really sort of like that really matured everybody a lot.
Right.
Um and gave them like more depth to their character where he was definitely sort of one note comic relief guy. Um and I think maybe we needed that because everybody else had been like run through the ringer so hard
Yeah.
that like them cracking wise like left and right just didn't make as much sense for their characters anymore, but we still wanted it in the show. We still needed some
Hmm.
of that silliness. So I think he was a good addition to it.
Well, and I could see that being like something they do after the series ends, or, obviously it had gone on past season 7.
Right.
It was certainly not something for season 7, but maybe by the time like Dawn's in college and he still hasn't like figured anything out. And so they think they have like feelings and they start dating. And it's like, no, we're just really
Right.
good friends.
They do that kiss thing and they're like, oh, no, no,
Yeah, yeah,
no.
exactly.
This doesn't work.
No, not feeling it. This is not right.
Yeah.
I also would have loved, and I actually see this more like post season 7, and the two of them on the road going to look for slayers while like everyone else is back in like England setting up the Watchers Council, but Faith and Buffy. And
Mm,
maybe one night after having a bunch of drinks at a bar, you know, they lose their inhibitions and give it a try. And maybe for a while are romantically involved. Maybe it's just sexual, but on the road, but like they develop a friendship out of it. I could see it wouldn't necessarily be a
hmm.
long term. I mean, maybe it could, but I could also see it not being like a long term thing. And but really reconnecting the way like they had the potential that we saw during the
Right.
series.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. And I could totally definitely see it being like just a weird like we're out here on our own,
Hmm.
just, random hookups every now and then, not a big deal. And then, like, Faith is out there, like, and then she starts flirting with some guy, and Buffy kind of maybe Buffy, like, there's this weird jealousy that maybe happens between
Hmm.
them, because I could totally see Buffy getting, like, a little bit jealous and being like,
Oh
what?
yeah.
And then them really, like, and that being sort of the thing that gets them really talking about
Yeah.
each other and their relationship and who they are to each other so that they can like be better so that they can be better together
Hmm.
as friends and as like you know
The two
the
oldest
two
living
oldest,
slaves.
yeah, and what that means for like the rest of it. But
Right.
but as we know, like in the comics, she's off doing her own thing. She
Right.
like Faith wants nothing to do with it anymore. She's
Yep.
like, I want out of this now that there's all these other people until Giles brings her back in.
Yeah. You know who I
Oh,
think would have been a cute to explore and screw Parker Abrams is Eddie and Buffy in season 4. Pedro Pascal's character
oh yeah.
that she bonds with over his,
There you
his
go.
security blanket of the book, I think Human Bondage.
I think so, yes.
Yeah. They were so cute and had really good chemistry. That would have been a
Oh,
cute exploration. So Eddie gone too soon
gone too soon.
and way better than Parker Abrams.
Yes. Boo Parker.
Boo Parker, poop head.
Um, Buffy and Jesse.
Oh, interesting.
We know nothing about Jesse other
I
than other than that. But I'm gonna my hot take, Buffy and Jesse. Because also, like, what a great, like, again, so now here's a real reason for, like, this would have been a real reason for Xander to really, really get jealous because, like, that's his best friend.
Right.
And then you create this weird sort of tension between them in that sense, and creating that instead of Angel being the thing that gets them, like, you could get to the Angel of it all,
Hmm.
but you've got the Jesse of it all, at least for a while, so that there's this weird tension of them like fighting over her and blah 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 blah. And then maybe you kill off Jesse. And then Xander realizes what a dick he's been to his
Yeah.
best friend. And then Angel comes in and steps
Yeah.
in. Give me like 4 episodes of Jesse and Buffy together or something weird like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
But then, one talk about your body count. Like Buffy literally has a body count.
Poor
I
Buffy.
know.
Ugh.
Um,
Okay, I have one because we said the Buffy verse, right?
yeah.
Willow and Fred.
Yes. Yeah.
That was like the cutest moment, and also like felt like it was hinting at something with during the crossover episode in season 7, and then yet like Fred is only portrayed as straight.
Right. She was like, I have a girlfriend. It was like, but it's Kennedy. Like, that
I don't
doesn't
know.
count.
I know. But like in that moment, Fred was like super flirty with Willow. That was not
Yeah.
like two geeks geeking out. That was like two geeks flirting with each other
Well, and
and super cute.
sometimes that can,
Well, sometimes it's
look
about the
and feel,
person.
yeah, and sometimes that like geeking out over something can be flirty if
Yeah.
you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
If if you do it right. But Willow was definitely, I mean, Willow was definitely flirting. Like when Fred is like
Yes.
walking around
Yes.
ringing the bell, she was like, "Oh no, hold your form is so great." Like you
That's
didn't have
true.
to touch her. You didn't have to touch her to do all that. Come on now, Willow.
So true. So true.
Um, let's see here. Oh, kind of one of the most obvious ones.
Hmm.
Since I'm gonna stick with the gay theme here.
Okay.
Um, Angel and Spike.
Oh, duh. Oh my God. Thank God you thought of that one. I would have been mad if we had missed that one.
Angel and Spike by far. Are you telling me that you all ran around causing carnage and chaos for hundreds of years and never, I mean, I think there was the implication that there was that one time,
Right.
but they didn't look at each other or whatever. Like they were like, no homo or whatever. But I was like, come on, you guys. You're telling me that you also don't have a soul, so why would you care?
Yeah, you wouldn't care.
You
They
wouldn't
would
even
just,
care. You'd just be like, whatever, carnage, carnage,
yeah,
lust, let's just go.
right. It'd be about the pleasure. Like there'd be
Yeah,
no
there would be no
sense of,
judgment.
no sense of shame, no sense of, it'd be like whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so, you know, heteronormative standards on vampires. That's ridiculous. Vampires are so queer. Vampires are like the queerest of all of the supernatural creatures
Agreed. Definitely.
by nature. Like, it just doesn't make any sense that you are a soulless creature who is immortal, who is young and beautiful, and sort of like, come on, that's the gayest thing I've ever heard. It's like, anyway.
I know.
But yes, I would have liked to have seen that. Because again, it wouldn't have been a forever thing.
Right.
It would have been like an off and on sort of like casual thing,
Yeah.
you know, that that also would explain some of their tension more, especially their like tension. I mean, their sharing of like the quote unquote sharing of Darla, no, or Drusilla, uh,
Drusilla.
not Darla, Drusilla. Um, you know, and I could also, and and did we not see this, or maybe I'm making this up? Maybe I have a headcanon. That happened because I also feel like Darla and Drusilla would have totally been like, "No, it's your turn now." Like I would have
Oh yeah,
totally
no,
seen
we
them
did
being
not
like,
see anything like that. Don't forget, this was the WB,
"I know this is my headcanon." Then apparently,
but 100%, 100%.
like all the times that they were like, "Oh, played up because they played that up so much with Drusilla and Darla and being like, "Oh, we're being flirty together and like,
Right.
you know,
Well, and then
rub."
being with the immortal together.
Yeah, and doing all of that stuff. And so it's like, come on.
Hmm.
Why does it work one way and not the other? Oh,
Yeah,
homophobia,
because
that's why.
yeah, exactly. Yes. This
Um,
one has an obvious answer.
but yes, that's my bid.
They would be like the male equivalent to the Buffy Faith hookup.
Yes. Yes. I'm here for it. I'm here for
Okay, now I'm
all
here
those
for a
things.
show with like the four of them on the road together.
I mean, I think that would have been I think that would have made a really interesting series, like
Hmm.
to see like that family, like during that time of them being a family together, of the
Oh,
four
yeah.
vampires being.
Yes.
I thought that that would have made a super like, and again, like it would have been one of those things that like I feel like the Buffyverse now could totally be if you sort of check all of this stuff, if it were being made now and had all of the same players or whatever, you could do it more like the Marvel universe, where
Hmm.
you could do like little mini things. Like you could do like a mini series, like an 8 episode arc
Yeah.
of, Angel and Spike and Darla and Drusilla. Like and do instead of like just a crossover episode, do like an 8 series thing and call it one and done.
Right.
There's so many more stories you could tell
Yes.
um,
Agreed.
with that because that universe was so expansive. Um,
Yeah.
I think that's how you bring back the Buffyverse.
Hmm.
I think you sort of like you reboot it, but I think you just sort of start telling the other stories. Um,
Yeah. I mean, you could do the young Giles story, like
yeah,
in the days where he was doing magic with Ethan before,
yeah.
and then him getting his head on straight and becoming a real watcher.
hmm You could do
Um,
a whole thing of just the Watchers Council. You could have
oh,
done
yeah.
a whole series of just Watchers Council stuff. Like
Right. I
there's
mean,
so
obviously,
much rich material there.
yeah. I mean, obviously, you could do past Slayers,
hmm
different time periods,
Yeah.
the way the Tales of the Slayers books did.
Yeah, yeah. An anthology series. You could
Yeah.
do like
Hmm.
an anthology
Yep.
of it. I'd be down for that.
Obviously, you could do a Frey series.
Yeah.
There's so much.
There's so much material, you guys. Why are we not doing this?
Yeah.
And I think I mean and I get why people are like, let's not bring back the original Buffy. That's fine. We don't have to bring back like the original series or like even those original four.
Right.
But there is a whole universe out there that
Yeah.
could be explored and you got to just reset everything. I mean, they were trying to do that Ripper series
Right.
um that didn't work for several reasons and but and they tried to do a Faith series too.
Yeah. She
Um
wasn't interested.
yeah,
She went on to do True Calling, I
True
think.
Calling, yeah. And now she's
So,
a therapist.
mhm.
Yeah.
Well, any other couples that we didn't talk about that you would have been interested to explore?
Me and Giles. Just saying. Yeah.
Well, if there is a couple that we have not discussed and you want to share with us, please let us know. We'd love to hear from you.
Thank you so much for joining us for this episode of Small Bites. Let us know your thoughts about the episode by leaving a review or rating us wherever you listen to your podcast.
You can follow us on Instagram and Facebook at A Buffy Podcast and email us at abuffypodcast@gmail.com. Thanks so much for listening. Bye.
Bye.